Welcome to episode 3, where I'll be explaining biological factors in sport and how they influence talent identification and development. Biological factors are important because they affect how athletes develop physically and can impact performance, selection, and long term success. As a coach at Sir Tom Finney Football Club, I have seen how differences in growth and maturation can influence young players in very different ways. In this episode, I will focus on key biological factors such as growth, maturation, and the relative age effect, and explain how they impact players using both research and my own coaching experiences. One key biological factor is growth and maturation. Not all children develop at the same rate. Some players mature earlier, meaning they are taller, stronger, and faster at a young age, while others mature later. Research from Radner et al. 2012 suggests that biological maturity has a greater impact on physical performance than relative age. At Sir Tom Finney, I've seen this clearly. Some players in the same age group are more physically developed and dominate games because of their strength and speed. Because of this, these players are often seen as more talented. However, this can be misleading as the performance is mainly due to physical advantages rather than actual skill level. In contrast, in countries like Spain, particularly at FC Barcelona's academy, there is less focus on physical size and more emphasis on technical ability, decision making, and game intelligence. Smaller players are often developed and given opportunities because of their technical skills rather than the physical development. This shows that talent identification can vary depending on the environment and philosophy of coaching. Another key factor is the relative age effect. This refers to the advantage given to players who are born earlier in the selection year compared to those born later. Research by Helsen, Van Winckel and Williams 2005 shows that players born earlier in the year are more likely to be selected in youth football. Brustio et al. 2023 also found that the relative age effect can influence progression from youth to senior level. At Sir Tom Finney, I've noticed that players who are older within the age group often appear more confident and physically capable. This can lead to them being seen as more talented. However, younger players in the same group may be overlooked, even though they may have equal or greater long term potential. This links to the Matthew effect, introduced by Robert K. Merton, 1968. The Matthew effect suggests that those who are given early advantages continue to receive more opportunities, leading to further development. In sport, this means physically developed players are often selected more, given more game time, and receive better coaching. At Sir Tom Finney, I've seen that stronger players are often given more opportunities in matches, which helps them improve further. Meanwhile, less developed players may get fewer chances, which can slow their development. Biological factors do not work alone, they interact with psychological and social factors. This links to Engel, 1977, who introduced the biopsychosocial model, suggesting that development is influenced by biological, psychological, and social factors. Kiesler, 1999, also supports moving beyond just the biological perspective. At Sir Tom Finney, I've seen that confidence and enjoyment play a big role. Some smaller players continue to improve because they enjoy the sessions and stay motivated, even if they are not the strongest physically. Abbott et al. 2005 highlights that talent development is complex and non-linear, and early physical advantages do not always lead to long term success. From my experience, some of the best long term players are not always the strongest at a young age, but those who continue to develop over time. To conclude, biological factors such as growth, maturation, and relative age can strongly influence youth sport. However, these advantages can be misleading and do not always reflect true talent. From both research and my experience at Sir Tom Finney, it is important that coaches recognize these differences and give players all equal opportunities to develop.